y'all, it's Chimney. So one of my most popular videos on my channel right now is about how I close my gap using rubber bands. Go ahead and watch that video if you've not seen it already. And people have a lot of questions in the comments about how I did it, about retainers, about all types of things, and I try to be pretty responsive in the comments. One thing to note is that if you are responding to an existing comment, I don't get a notification about it. I only get a notification if it's a new comment. So if you ask me a question in there and I didn't get to you, go ahead and start a new comment and I will try to get to that. And also go ahead and watch this video because I'm gonna actually answer a lot of the most commonly asked questions that came after folks saw that video. I'm also gonna do a couple of things that I did in that video that people kind of wish they had seen, which include showing how I put the bands on. So let's go ahead and get into the video, shall we? Okay, so in terms of the way that I put the bands on my teeth. So what I did is I took one of the medium-sized bands and I put it around all 4 of my teeth, because if you're closing a gap in your 2 front teeth, the gap has to move somewhere, so it's gonna move to the other side of them. And because I didn't want that, I put it around all 4, so the gap would move to the outside of those, because I thought, and I think it's the case, that it's less noticeable than if it were between these parts of my 2 front teeth. So similarly, if you have a side gap and you're banding between these 2 teeth on the side, that gap has to go somewhere. So you have to figure out if it's possible for you to put bands on your teeth in such a way that it'll still all be moved closer without causing overcrowding. What I found with my teeth is that they are not perfectly straight. So when I put those bands on the 4, this tooth right here would actually move in like this versus actually kind of forming a perfect like semicircle of that front row. And as a result, as I was moving it, I was like, okay, I have to stop at a certain point because I don't want that tooth to go like all the way behind my 2 front teeth. You have to just be careful when it comes to, moving your teeth around because you will be creating new gaps in this process if you already have a gap in your teeth somewhere. All right, here are some of the most commonly asked questions. I'm gonna go ahead and just like go down the list and let's go ahead and answer them. So how long before you see results? Like I'd say after the first like day or 2, you will actually slowly start to see, it'll be tiny, but you'll slowly start to see those changes happening in your teeth. But for me, it took about, I'd say like 2 months or so for me to like get to a point where I was ready to stop using the bands. I saw a question about daily teeth brushing. You should go ahead and brush your teeth as normal. I would go ahead and brush my teeth in the night and then put the bands on after and go to sleep. And in the morning, take the bands off, brush my teeth, and go about my day. Can my teeth break up or loosen up as a result of this? So once again, I am not a dentist, so I cannot speak with any authority on this. What I have been told, all right, is that if you move your teeth really, really quickly, that's when you risk loosening up your teeth and having them be, not cemented in like whatever is up here, basically. So with the bands, some people like would double up on their bands or triple up on their bands to move them really quick. I've heard of that happening. You should not do that. You should just kind of move them really, really slowly, as braces would move your teeth slowly, so that you aren't risking having your teeth break up or loosen up. Can you sleep with the bands? Yes, I went ahead and slept with my bands versus bringing them around with me when I was walking around during the day. Someone asked, I'm 13, should I be doing this? On the one hand, the younger you are in terms of your teeth kind of forming, the more they'll accept changes. But also your teeth are also changing as you get older, right? So when you're younger, I was told is the best time to get braces because then your teeth will be kind of set. But if you kind of change your teeth later on, there's a higher chance you will need retainers. So I can't really say at what age is okay. Like I said, I'm not a medical professional, but I have heard that it's better to do it when you're younger, but I would say probably past the point where your teeth have stopped making changes on their own. Do you eat while using these? I personally did not eat while I wore the bands because I wore the bands at night. If you choose to wear them in the day, I would go ahead and pop them out, eat as normal as you would with like Invisalign, and then go ahead and pop them back in. One person is asking about a teeth overlapping another tooth, and I also had someone ask about like overbites and things like that, and whether or not the bands will fix it. Because I don't have any personal experience with that issue, I can't really speak to it. But just think about the physics of how the bands work is that they're like pulling on teeth. So if you can set it up in a way so that it's like pulling it in the right direction, you might be successful. But like I said, I don't have any first-hand experience with that kind of issue. Can I use any other kind of rubber band? So I would recommend the plastic goodie bands. You don't need to use that brand, but you just need to use the plastic bands instead of the rubber bands, because the rubber bands, when they pop, they have a much higher chance of just like causing all types of nonsense in your teeth. And I can only speak to using the plastic bands. I can't speak to what it's like to use the black rubber bands. Do we switch new bands each morning? So yes, I personally would not reuse a pair of bands partly because, you lose the elasticity of the band once it's been in your teeth for a certain amount of time. So I'd wear them in the night, in the morning, pop them off, and then every night put in a new set before going to bed. And what's nice is because they're so cheap, that's not like super expensive to be using new bands every day. How long did it hurt? So yeah, this is the thing, is that it is gonna hurt because you are moving your teeth around. I found that it hurt like maybe for the first day or so, and then after that it was manageable for me. Okay, let's talk all things retainers. So folks ask a lot of questions about retainers, and apologies if I wasn't clear in my first video. So these are the retainers. This is the case that it came in, and these are the retainers that I bought from Amazon. This is what they look like. They are plastic trays that are molded to your specific bite. So the key thing is, if you're moving your teeth as an adult and also in general, you need something that's going to keep it from reverting back to where they were originally and where they naturally want to be. And that's what retainers are for. You need some way of permanently affixing your teeth to where you want them to be. Otherwise, they're just gonna move back to where they started. Some people, they don't need to wear retainers for the rest of their life after they get something like braces done. They only need to wear it for like a couple of years and they don't need to use it anymore. Some people, given the way their teeth are set up, they actually do. I am not a medical professional, so I can't say what it is that causes folks to have retainers for like the rest of their life versus not. But I do know that sometimes there's a muscle in between your front teeth, I guess up there in your gums, and that can be the result of why the teeth will always kind of want to separate out and why you need to wear retainers. So I wear my retainers every night. If I miss a night, my gap will open back up again. And I'll even notice throughout the day, like towards the end of the evening, I'll have a tiny, tiny gap that opens up again. And I think partly that's because I'm only wearing them at night. I think I probably should wear them like all day for like a year, you know what I mean? And then, then I could probably only do it at night. But the reality is like, I close my gap out of vanity. So I don't want to wear retainers all day, every day, because that defeats the whole purpose of having a beautiful smile, So I just wear mine at night. How is my retainer holding up? The way the retainers work is that the company will send you a mold, kind of like Play-Doh a little bit, and you mix this mold together, you put it in a tray, and then you bite into it. And what it does, that creates an impression of your teeth. You send that back to the company, and about 2 weeks later, they'll then send you the plastic that they made from that mold that then affixes to your specific teeth. That's why you need to get the retainer after you've moved your teeth to where you want them to be, because the impression they send you is gonna be based on what your teeth look like the moment you press them into the mold. Personally, even though I just moved my top teeth, I got retainers for both sets of my teeth, and that's because with age, your teeth will generally kind of start to shift a little bit, or mine did anyway, and I didn't want them to shift anymore. So I went ahead and got retainers for both sets of my teeth, partly too because as my bottom teeth, if I were to leave them alone and they moved over time, but I kept a retainer on my top teeth, I would notice a change in my bite as a result of it being like slightly misaligned. And there have been some times where I've like just thrown the retainers in my top teeth, for whatever reason, and I notice, even just like for like an hour or so, and I notice when I like plant my teeth down again, it doesn't align in the same way that I'm used to. So these changes, they're very minuscule, and they happen, of course, over years and years and years. They do add up, and that's why I went ahead and got retainers for both my top and my bottom teeth. Instead of getting the retainer, folks ask, could they just wear the bands? So the thing is, as I mentioned with my teeth in particular, I couldn't just keep wearing the bands, because if I had that like fourth tooth, I guess, if you were to do like 1, 2, 3, 4, this like fourth tooth would have like kept being pushed over time, and I would not have wanted that. So depending on how your teeth are set up, maybe if you keep applying the same pressure over and over again, it'll just be fine and you won't have any movement. But for me personally, it would have caused the problem. I would suggest you go ahead and just get a retainer so that you don't have to worry about that and you don't have to think about these like circumstances, but it is up to you. I do recognize that, it's like $100-something. That is an expensive amount for the retainer. And if the bands are working for you and it's good, it's your mouth, they're your teeth. So, you have to do what's best for you. If your gap is really small, someone asked, would you still need a retainer? And like I said, the retainer keeps your teeth from moving. So as soon as you get rid of the bands, your gap is gonna return because they're like, great, I'm free. And they just move back to their spot. So the retainer kind of locks it all in place. So even if it is a really small gap, once you take those bands off, that small gap is going to return. So you need a retainer or something else that's gonna keep it fixed. When I first got my retainers, I didn't have any sense of like how I should be maintaining them because I just order them off Amazon. But I have found, what someone told me is the best thing to do is to store them in cool water when you're not wearing them. You don't want to use hot water because apparently that will like melt and morph the plastic. So you want to go ahead and use cool water as you store them. In terms of cleaning them, I just go ahead and get a toothbrush and I just like will gently brush them under cool running water. And then in terms of like how long they last, so because I didn't really know what I was doing and I wasn't really storing them in water when I first got my first retainers, they definitely did break easily because it's just like hard plastic that's like being coated with like your saliva, over time. And, as I would like put it in the container and like accidentally have some of the plastic hanging out and snap it and parts would break off. But the most recent pair I got, I want to say it's been like 2 years at this point, something like that. I haven't needed to buy a new pair yet. All right, y'all, that is the video. I'm noticing in like the viewfinder that my teeth are also looking extra white and shiny. So I'm actually gonna also upload a video about how I have been maintaining my super white smile, if that would be of interest for y'all. All right, y'all, that's the video. Subscribe to see more and I will see y'all in the next one.